Okay. I like your
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I like it. Kind of goes with all my lights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. It's very enticing to watch.
It is pretty cool. It's like calming. I like looking at it.
It's like watching where it falls.
I know I tried like looking at it and seeing if it's like you can tell, you know, like how it just repeats itself. But it's kind of hard to find it. That it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like usually people when they make these, it's like, you know, 30 seconds of it and then it starts back over.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's like it's kind of hard to see it on this. Like trying to notice where it kind of repeats the, you know, like if you watch like one of the blue glitters like fall into a spot and then see if it'll go back in the same exact one. It's hard to see that.
Talk about a redirection game.
I know, right? Alright. Take a sip here.
What are you drinking?
Some Canadian whiskey.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Alright, let's start it up. Let's fire it up. Here we are. We're live. We are live. We're starting episode 3 of Freedom for Me. Here we are. I got Angela with me. Hey, everybody. What's up? I got Angela with me, and here is episode 3. Welcome aboard. We're going to get into it today. Angela, I've known for quite a while, and I wanted to get her on the show to get a teacher's perspective on the last couple years that we've all been going through together. We're going to be talking about the pandemic. We're going to be talking about COVID. We're going to be talking about the education field, how life has been affected from her perspective, you know, and I'll chat with her about mine too, and it's gonna be great. Hope you're really enjoying your Wednesday evening. It's been it kind of rained today, and I was a little bummed. I've liked the sunshine, and we've been blessed to have that. Especially, you know, I work outdoors, so it's been great. But yeah, it rained today, so that wasn't very fun. How's the weather been for you?
I'm on a delay here, sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
It was pretty gloomy over here too.
Yeah.
I don't think we're so far, but the weather's super different.
No, just 30 minutes or so, I guess.
Here,
But yeah.
let me situate. I'm like,
Sure. Whatever you need to do. I know that it should be pretty good the rest of the week and the weekend. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like kind of warmer and sunny. And then next week, geez, it's supposed to be like in the 70s all week. Like no rain. So that'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
that's always lovely.
Oh, definitely.
Anytime there's a problem at home, I'm always telling my husband, "Oh, this wouldn't happen if we lived in Hawaii." He's like, "Really?"
Right? Hey, no, they get monsoons there, so it might be few and far between they get the rain, but no, I get you. Yeah, I actually went to have you been to Hawaii?
No.
Oh, really?
My mother's
Okay.
actually Hawaiian.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
my family's been a bunch, but of course I haven't gone.
What island is she from?
Maui.
Oh, well, yeah, that's where I went. I went with my mom and stepdad and my brothers back God, I can't even remember. I can't remember how. I think I was like 22 21 or 2, I think. But anyway, we went to Maui for 2 weeks, and we stayed in Kihei, and just toured the whole island. It was super fun. I think Lahaina was my favorite place to visit. It was super cool. That's like the boat town, like the old school boat town. It's pretty touristy now, but I think Maui is like one of the best islands to visit from what I've heard, because it's got a good mix of everything. It's got like old cultural Hawaii, that's landscape and scenery and seeing that, but then it also has like a lot of newer stuff for everybody to kind of do the tourist stuff and all that. But yeah, I had a blast. You and your husband need to go.
I know, he's been. We were gonna go this last year, actually, but
well, hey, something then probably stopped you, wasn't it? So yeah, let's get into it then. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about yourself, as much as you want.
Yeah. So my name is Angela Singri. I am a teacher. I've worked at a private school for the past 6 years. I'm not there right now because of everything that's been going on, but I'm kind of, still involved behind the scenes. Right now I'm working as an independent contractor, running like my own small pod classroom. The only time in my life I've ever had less than 20 kids.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty awesome, actually. But
yeah, but it's a little bit of a nice break, I bet.
It is, yeah. I also I have so much time with these kids. Not like I wasn't doing curriculum with 20 kids in a classroom, but it's just like the day's just boom, boom, boom. We're running around. It's all over the place. But with my 7 kids, it's just like, hey, let's like really sit down and spend 30 minutes doing journal writing or, doing a math lesson. Like there's time and it's chill. And usually like in my classroom of 20 kids, we could, do small groups, but I was switching. But now I don't have to do that. It's like, one small group all day long.
Oh, yeah, totally. That is very different, but it's like everything, it's got its positives and its negatives.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So so talk to me then about the last 2 years. Take me back to, the end of 2019 when this was all starting. From your point of view, what was going on? Like, like I've talked to my other guests, I remember being, at work and seeing things kind of start to hit the news and like, okay, we got a pandemic or not even, no, sorry, it wasn't even that yet. It was just, there's this virus, that has broken out and, it could make its way over here. And I just remembered like that just kind of starting to like simmer. How were you feeling back then?
Yeah, so I remember hearing about, this thing that was happening, but it wasn't here yet. And then it was like, we had a first case, and I believe it was in Lake Oswego, and that's where my school is. Yeah, that's where my school is. And I was okay. Of all the places, it's in Lake Oswego, right down the road from us.
Exactly.
And I don't know, like I remember the swine flu being a thing, and I was younger, so I don't remember everything about that, but it felt like that wasn't, as big of a deal as this. So I was like, I guess we'll get through it. And I remember talking to a friend about it, and I was like, this is weird, da-da-da. And she was like, we'll be okay, though. Like, it'll be over, and we're young, and blah, blah, blah. And, right? And then, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it just, like, as soon as we had that first case, it just kind of kept going. And then I think Kate Brown had made an announcement. It was like the first one, and we went to school. So the private school that I worked at, so I work in the early childhood department. I teach pre-K, but I've done curriculum for all of our pre-K or all of our early childhood classrooms. But our school goes all the way up to middle school, so we have a very big, school.
Yeah, that's a good range.
Yeah, it's a huge school.
Right.
Well, not huge, but it's pretty big. But and they were talking about closing the elementary part of school and keeping the early childhood program open for a couple more weeks because of the fact that it's also a school, but it's also childcare. And so it was like, let's give parents a couple weeks to like, we have some doctors, some lawyers that like obviously needed to keep working. So, but then a lot of my staff were really like, a couple of them were like, we don't have health insurance. They were nervous. And then they ended up canceling, like we didn't even stay for 2 more weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like, so it's a Jewish private school, so our spring break is always around Pesach, Passover.
Right. Yeah.
So like it fluctuates every year, but
Mm-hmm.
so it was the 2 week freeze, and it happened to be around. It was like when we come back, it's going to be Pesach break anyways. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, it was like, okay, we're going to be off we'll be online for 2 weeks, and then we'll be off for 2 weeks. So it was 4 weeks. It was like, okay,
Wow.
so by the end of that, like we'll
Right.
be coming back after spring break, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Like it was kind of like, okay, well, a little hiccup, but kind of like we're gonna get back to normal anyway, so let's just get through it.
totally. It
Get
was
life
like,
back to
okay,
where it
yeah,
should
we'll
be.
close. Yeah, totally. It was like we'll close for the 2 weeks. We'll have the break for 2 weeks. We'll be back,
Right.
and it was kind of a lot because, like I said, I teach pre-K, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, how the heck am I supposed to teach pre-K on a computer?
Right.
So our early childhood staff like had a big conversation, like, how is this going to look? We don't want these younger kids on a computer screen for a long time, but also it's a
Mm-hmm.
private school, so parents are paying tuition. Like, how do we make it still worth their money? And we had an amazing program. All the teachers ran together. My teaching assistant at the time, her and me just filmed a bunch of videos. We were online. It was great.
Okay.
And
So you had to. So about the videos, real quick, if I can interject, you had to make videos on the curriculum, correct?
yes,
Wow. So that's just. It's almost like. I mean, that's like doubling your workload almost.
it was
Right?
a lot.
Because not only are you, when you're a teacher, you have your curriculum and you go over it yourself, and that's like your homework, right? And then you go teach the children that, but you had to do that on top of now figuring out and making a video and teaching that way and then getting it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then, like I said, I had 20 kids.
Yeah.
And so we had those manila yellow envelopes
Oh, right.
just like packed with curriculum. Because it's like, I also didn't want them to just be on a computer. So it was like, seriously, each pack was like this thick.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
It was insane. I have never,
Jeez.
as an educator, gone over my printing budget, but I totally did those.
That's crazy. I was going to say, so did you, were you still like in, like what time frame is this? Were you still in the classrooms or were you like officially sent home by now?
This was in March. So
right. So when things really started to kind of shut
the
down.
The very beginning, yeah.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
kids were not coming on campus, but all the teachers were there.
Right. Okay.
Because it was like, how are we going to do this? What's happening? And like, we were filming videos, like getting the packets ready for parents to come pick up and take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that was like right in March.
Crazy.
Yeah. But so that was going on. But at that time, I was working like 75 to 80 hours a week.
Wow.
That's just working. That wasn't my college classes.
Oh my gosh. Can't even imagine.
So I was super busy, just rushing through life. My husband is still in grad school, but at the time he was just starting grad school and also working 12-hour shifts.
Jeez.
So our like.
Wow, you guys, how did you even spend time together?
Yeah, it was like, hey, haven't seen you in like 15 hours, but nice to see you. I'm about to go on a call. Like, bye.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Props to you guys for getting through that. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. So at first, when I was told that I was going to be home for 4 weeks, I was like, that's kind of nice. I mean, I felt bad. My husband still had to work 12 hours and then, do school. But he was like super supportive and like, oh, no, it's great that you have this time. Granted, I still was like, every day was a live video with the kids.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had to do the uploading and all of that stuff. So like, I still was putting in hours, but I sure as heck wasn't putting in my 80 hours.
Yeah, totally.
So it was nice.
Yeah, a little bit of a break.
Yeah, but then it like kept going.
Yeah. I think we all kind of felt that. I mean, same with me, like I was saying to my other guests too, when I was working for my company and, then we got sent home and it's like, okay, now this is getting real now. And okay. And it was, I don't want to say I had any fear. I know there were people that had the fear and, you're definitely entitled to feel that way. It was a little bit nerve wracking kind of being like, oh, okay. So this virus that has officially reached us is now spreading like pretty fast. It's out there. It's like literally here where we are. And now you are being sent home with millions of other Americans. Yeah. You cannot come back in. And it's like, okay. And I was in the same boat too. I remembered getting like my laptop and my monitor and all my stuff, you know, because I had one of those jobs, and got home, and I was actually one of the first like, so with our company, they did it by like groups or so, you know. It was like, okay, we'll do like 20 people at a time, and then these 20 people, and then like, you know, week by week.
Okay.
So they kind of phased people out because they were still a little bit liberal with how they were, you know, because nobody really knew. When you really think about it, even when March hit, and you know, the governors and all these people were like, okay, boom, mandate, like you need to go home, or, you know, but it was so on the fence, right? It was like, okay, is this really effective and scary or happening, or is it just like, can we ride it out for that, you know, the 14 days to flatten the curve, you know? It's like, I think that's what most people thought, was like, okay, 2 weeks, whatever, you know, be clean, do your thing, be healthy, and then we'll get back to normal. And that's where I was at. And I got sent home, and I, like you know, I was like, okay, cool, don't have to go in the office, just kind of wake up and go to my other room in my, you know, house, and get on my laptop and work. And then, like you said, it was just okay, nope, another week went by, then another week went by, and another week went by. It was like, okay, here we are 6 months into it, you know. It's crazy. So yeah, talk to me about that then. So how was that switch from, you know, transitioning your teaching life from the classroom, which is where a teacher should be, to making all these videos and curriculums and all that, and trying to do this from, what did you use, Zoom, or how did you guys do that?
So we had a YouTube channel, which I kind of was running and uploading all the videos. So we had 3 classrooms for our early childhood program. So we have, our youngest classroom is 18 months, and then it goes to my kids, which are 5, 6, depends on their birthday for kindergarten.
Right.
But actually my classroom ended up being a mixed classroom. So I have some like older 3s to 6 years old.
Okay. Right.
But so basically, so there's like 3 head teachers running their different curriculums. So we had a YouTube channel, and each teacher had their videos, and we would upload it to the channel. But every day there was a live, it was like 45 minutes to 50 minutes, not very long, call. And all of us teachers were on it. So like the teacher that has the kids before me, like she did a segment, and then I would do a segment, and then the younger, for the 18-month-old kids, she would do a segment. Then twice a week, I would stay on longer with my pre-Ks and do pre-K curriculum, because obviously not everybody needs to be on for that. And not even all of my kids did that. That's something that was in my classroom with having such a big mixed age classroom, is like, there's the 3 and 4, well, like 3, 4 like curriculum. And then some of my 4s are with my 5 and 6 year olds.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
If you're going to kindergarten, you need to be learning different stuff than if you're still learning how to hold a pencil, type of a thing. Yeah,
totally.
So like that's how it was ran. So every day there was a live Zoom, and then every day there was videos being posted, and like my stuff, like in the packets, were usually like in cue with what was on the video that day, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, totally. It's you're lining it up for, it makes sense.
Yeah, so like they would watch a video, and then they would have their, you know, paper worksheet, whatever it was on. And I remember, like, it was okay. Like I said, the team did awesome. They did great. Like, we did as best as could be. And it was honestly, I forgot how many subscribers, but we had so many subscribers to our YouTube channel. And like people out of the country even were subscribing and watching our videos. And a couple of our videos got over 2,000 views. Jeez. So it was like, so for our small private school, which is kind of big, like that's was cool. Really, it was really great for us. But I remember, honestly, I was doing one of my pre-K lessons, and I was like reading a book, and I told them there was something about this book, and I want you to try to figure out what it is. And it was a rhyming book. Obviously, rhyming's like a good pre-writing skill. It's really important when you're building the blocks of phonological awareness.
Yeah, totally.
And like I was reading the book, and then we discussed it, and we had a worksheet, and I remember watching it afterwards. And you like in the videos, you can hear the kids asking questions, hear us talking and engaging. And I remember watching it, and I was like, oh, I should have, like, I did that wrong. That's not how I would have done it. And I was like, man. And I was like frustrated. I was like, this is kind of it's kind of hard. Like
Oh,
usually I feel like
yeah.
in the classroom, like I know what to do. I'm on it. Like not
Right.
always, like obviously I'm not perfect, but like it just comes more natural. But like I kept noticing that when I was online, there would be times I'd be like, oh dang it, like I did
Hmm.
that wrong.
Yeah.
Like I
You
didn't.
over
So
critique yourself. Like you over perfect how, it's like we do that on our daily basis in our lives. I mean, even me with this, I look back and I watch some of my, shows or videos or live streams like back when I was on Twitch, and it's like, why did I say that? Or, like, you know what I mean? Not that it was like
yeah,
bad or wrong. It was just like, like I could, we quarterback ourselves all the time. Like, oh, I could have done this way or that. But it's natural, and it is a different, because it's like, it's almost like I think people are one way or the other. There's people that are behind a camera like this that are super comfortable because they know, they look around themselves and they know like, hey, I'm here in my home, or I'm here, or wherever, and there's nobody else around me besides me or somebody that I know he is here, and I'm not in front of a huge crowd, because then, you know what I mean? Like they have to
yeah,
do that whole picture everybody in their underwear thing, and whatever, right? But then there's the
just think about
opposite.
you.
Yeah, and then there's the other people that are like, I can't do this behind a camera. It's super weird. It's like who's watching, because I can't see a
Yeah,
face. Are they judging me? Are they critiquing me? And with you, you even more so have a leadership position because you're a teacher. So it's like you want to make sure that you're teaching and providing, like, I don't know if correct is the right word, but as close to that as we can get to, to their children, right?
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I remember, so at the end of the year, because obviously we never went back. So from March to June, we were all online. So we were
Mm-hmm.
doing this for a few months. We had a drive-by end of the year party thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there were a few parents that in sync, like all the dads just started singing one of my songs that I sing to
Oh,
my
wow.
kids. And I was like, it's like, I
That's
forgot
cool,
what
though.
song it was. It was like one
Yeah.
of the education songs I sing. And they were
Right.
like, yeah, we watch your videos. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow. You're like, wow, it's actually reaching out to somebody. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like it
That's
was great.
neat.
But I was like,
Yeah.
wow, those parents have like totally seen
Mm.
my, which is
Super
like
cool.
valid. I mean, you want
Yeah.
parents that are involved, but it was just like
Mm-hmm.
more so and really funny to just see them take it, like
Yeah.
run with it.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, that's really cool though, because you're actually seeing like I said, it's you're reaching somebody. You're actually what you're doing, what the job is supposed to be doing, and I think that's pretty cool. I guess my next question would be, so kind of like, so my friend Carl, he was more in the high school, because he teaches lacrosse and all that, so he was in that high school age, and we talked about how that affected, those teenagers, and huge thing, we can't, because when we were in high school, life was, quote unquote normal, and it's like what they went through now is completely different. Like you mentioned, the drive up thing, like that's how most seniors graduated last year, and this year was like literally driving through and getting a diploma through the window. I can't imagine, like when we were back in high school, like how that must feel now. And I know there have been, some pretty sad things and reflection on
Yeah.
children and how this has affected them. And so can you tell me more about that age group? And I mean the entire, what would you say, 18 months into, what's the oldest?
My oldest was 6.
Okay, so yeah, that entire span there, that young, child to 6 years old, did you see a difference in both them and the parents too? I'm sure you got feedback from the parents. How, as a teacher, what was the reflection on that? How did they change?
Yeah, so a couple things. Like I will say that I have, friends that are educators in like higher age group elementary school, and it's sad. Like it's like mentally getting to a lot of kids, all over the spectrum, all the way up to high school, even
Mm-hmm.
college, even adults.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But so we obviously went online from March to June, and then my director and I really we worked over the summer and got our school open under an emergency care facility license, which meant that we're able to be open, but there was a lot of rules, a lot of guidelines, which honestly changed like every other week.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
so we did that, and we wanted to run a summer program because we were like, how is this going to look in the fall? when like my classroom always has 20 kids. I've always had a wait list for my classroom. Like my classroom is just a very packed room. So it was like, and at the time the guidelines were I couldn't even have 20 kids in my room. So we were like, we need to know how fall's going to work. So we did the summer program, and it was like a short 4-week program. And just having the kids back in the classroom, like even now, like I said before, like I'm with a pod and I have 7 kids, and they were not in a classroom setting for months. And like seeing them get back into it, like these kids are so hungry. Like they just want to learn. They just want to do things. A big part of this age is like social skills and social interaction and learning how to figure things out on yourself. Like I've had people ask me about like my method and why I do things. And like when kids are fighting, sometimes like in the beginning, like I give them the words and like, how can you handle this? Like, how can you talk to your friend? Like, what should you do? What are your options? Is using your hands an options? Like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
So like a big part. And like when kids are like going at it, I'm like, well, what can you do? Like, can you guys figure that out? I mean, that's not working. So, you know, and that's a big part of
huge.
You know,
well, like you said, social development, it's a necessity, I think, in human life. You know, there are people.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, there's just been studies on like, obviously like academics is important, but like to be socially regulated, to have those skills to like interact with kids, like if you have that, like you're gonna get the academics. I'm not saying that's 100% accurate, but like that is a big part, to be able to socially regulate, to be able to have, you know, self-control, to know your emotions. Like people don't think about it if you're not like around a child a lot, but like that's a very big deal. Like seeing them come back in, like they were just so ready to be in the classroom, just so ready to learn, just so ready to be with their friends. And like I always have, like obviously I have curriculum, I have stuff planned. There's like free time where they're allowed to do stuff in the classroom, and all my stuff that's out in the classroom, I like toys, but I like educational type stuff, like a lot of fine motor stuff, a lot of, you know, I have like zipper practices for kids who don't know how to zip, like, but like stuff like that. But even then, like I always have some type of table activity that's, you know, some type of part of our curriculum. And sometimes I won't do that though. But since coming back from COVID, I've had kids when I don't have anything on the table, they're like, can I do a table activity?
Yeah.
Like, well, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you don't want to go like do some Legos for a little bit or something? Like, no, I want a table activity. I'm like,
okay. yeah, exactly. And they, like you said, I feel that's even through the older age group as well. But I mean, even more so that 18 months to 6 years old is, like you said, you're learning social skills, you're learning motor skills. It's you becoming. It's literally growing up and developing your body and your mind to stabilize yourself to be healthy. And I feel like a huge chunk of that, because I've talked to some parents, you know, that had, you know, children put through school, kind of all age groups too. There's a few guys that I work with that were talking about that as well. You know, they have kind of that, like, you know, 6 years old, even like up to 10, 12 years old, you know, and getting into middle school. And it's like, half the battle was missing out on their social interactions with their friends. You know, especially when you're getting older, it's like you're coming of age, you're figuring yourself out, you're interacting with different types of people. And, you know, I remember like when I went from, because I went to private school up until 6th grade. And then I went, and from 7th grade, middle school to high school was public school. And it was really different. But I'm also really glad that I did grow up with that structure of private school to then public school, where I met, you know, 500 people that were Christian, Catholic, you know, Buddhist, Muslim, every other religion and faith and views on life and all these crazy things. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool, because as you get older, then you start to think for yourself. But coming full circle, it's like, how do we get there? Is we learn things as children. To get to where we can think and do and be, you know, physically active and do and whatever, right? So it's like you are in that early development, and I don't, it just seems like a huge hit for them.
Yeah, and it's like at that age, like if you miss one, it's like building a house, right? Like there's the
Yeah.
foundation. If you miss
Yeah.
one thing, if one thing's wrong, like it's gonna make things harder. So I had multiple parents reach out to me, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, my child's not into the computer. They don't want to watch it. They're not really wanting to see
Right.
the videos.
Yeah.
Like super
I
concerned.
heard
Like
that was a big thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
they were like,
big
I don't
concern.
want. Yeah, they're like, I don't want them to be behind for kindergarten. Da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And like a big thing that I was saying was like. I
Yeah.
was like,
Like
I
you're
mean,
forced to do like I don't want to say forced, but you had no other choice.
yeah. And I was like,
Per our yeah, you had to do it that way.
totally. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
26 years old and I
Right.
stopped taking classes because I
Mm-hmm.
I can't do online classes. Like I just
Yeah.
it doesn't work for me and I
Mm-hmm.
don't really benefit from it and I don't feel like paying for it if I'm not feeling
Yeah.
like I'm getting everything from it. And like I can make that choice, but this
Yeah.
5-year-old, like
How? Like
yeah, and so
it
I was like, don't be super concerned. Like
mm-hmm.
like honestly, like wouldn't you be excited your child doesn't want to spend all day on a screen? Like
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but like that was a
yeah.
legitimate concern because that's
Yeah.
the way that curriculum had like I guess now things are kind of going back in person, but like that was
Mm,
all that we could do and were allowed to do. And it was like a
mm,
legitimate concern for some parents. And I was like, just
right.
when they're interested, let them do it. When they're not, don't push them. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's something I do as an educator. Like sometimes my kids just aren't ready to start writing or they give me
Yeah.
2 words. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like that's fine. Like
Right.
you wrote 2 words down, because if you push too much, you don't want to give them that negative,
Right, exactly.
like they'll remember that.
Yeah, that forceful like must do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and here's a good question I see Desi wrote. How do you do a project interaction when it was only online? Did the kids get supplies ahead of time or was the interaction done only online?
I did supplies or I did offer supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had an activity, like I would give them the stuff that they would need and I would have the exact same stuff and we would do it together on the call. And they would send me
Oh,
pictures
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
of them doing it. Yeah.
So that was
And
like on
like
the Zoom on
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you and I right now. That actually makes kind of sense. I mean, like my buddy Oscar in the last episode, he's a personal trainer. So it's like even right now, I know like things are opening back up and we'll get to that, but it's yeah, at the time, he was like I literally this is the only thing I can do. So he's like I'd literally set up my camera and back up and show them how okay, this is how you do a curl or this exercise or this and that. So that's the only way is through a screen and so yeah, I guess that makes sense. That was your only avenue because you physically can't be there, but
Yeah.
you can be there in this sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just another huge thing that I had to do was think.
Mm-hmm.
I think so the first time it was only 2 weeks worth of curriculum and then we had our 2 week break
Gotcha.
and then we came back and it was like we're still going to be online. So then I had to plan for a whole month.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like it turned
Yeah.
into a huge packet with like a
Mhm.
box of other supplies.
Right.
And then like a couple times I'd be like, what can you do with a toilet paper roll? Everybody
Yeah.
has toilet paper rolls.
It's like you got to be creative and end up like thinking of like okay, household things because you like you said you can't
Yeah.
provide everything for them.
Yeah. I mean, granted, my classroom is pretty well stocked, so I
Mm.
just was able to like send home all this stuff.
Oh, that's good.
But it was like as a teacher, you plan ahead anyways,
Mm.
but not so far ahead because
Well, I mean, you like in a classroom setting, you only you like say it's like that zipper thing you had, right? So if you have one object, or say you have a couple of them, you can split those among your 20 kids,
Yeah.
but you don't have 20 individual ones to give
Yeah.
out to 20 different children. Wow, yeah, that must have been a headache, I bet.
it was a lot, those for
Yeah.
like the planning and the curriculum and sending it all. And then like once it's out, like in my classroom,
Hmm.
if it's Wednesday and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't make those copies. Or oh, I forgot this one supply. Like I can run to the office or I can like run and do this. But if I forgot it in someone's packet, it's like, oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, totally, I get that. Wow, nice. Gosh, yeah. So that must have been a big learning curve for everybody, including you and the kids, and I can only imagine. And again, I'm so glad to have you on because getting a teacher's perspective is a completely different. Everybody has different jobs and everything they do in life, and that's what this is about: is kind of seeing how different fields went through things. And I think a teacher's perspective is really important, because like you're literally guiding other human beings through their life to, become better at what they want, or just to learn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I also like the age group is that awkward, like, it's definitely difficult for elementary kids in high school, like 100%.
Yeah.
It's different challenges, but I feel like with each age group, there's different sets of.
Well, I bet that's a
challenges.
quick change from like 18 months to 1 or 2 years, and then from like 2 to 4, and then 4 to 6. It's like you probably see big leaps of development, rather than from like 10 to 12 to 14 and so on. But yeah. So then, okay, how about let's fast forward now to, I guess, today. How have things changed? Are you back in the classroom, or what's going on with the teaching stuff? How's that going?
I am not back at my private school. My time is not done there, but I'm just not there right now. I'm working as an independent contractor, running my own small pod classroom.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'm really liking it. Sometimes I miss like a big classroom, and sometimes I miss having other teacher friends, because it's just me.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's the human interaction, the social interaction that we all, need, essentially. Yeah.
At my private school, we had such a beautiful team. Like, not everybody is there, but like, we had such a lovely team there. We all worked great together. My family is there.
Right.
But from having 20 kids all the time, and sometimes like maybe 4 or 5 of those kids might be kids that need a little bit more extra like behavioral support, or some type of just a little bit more. So like it was just very busy, always like fast paced. And so from going from 20 kids to 7 kids, it's
wow.
Like,
nice.
That's
a giant leap.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's like pros and cons, but I'm always very, especially during this past year, trying really hard to find the positives in what's going on, and
very
really
much so.
like manifest that. And like, I'm getting a lot of time with these kids. But I got these kids, and that sounds weird. I bought these kids. But I got this classroom, and they had been out of school for months. And they all they weren't necessarily where they should be academic wise, which is to be expected, honestly. And it was totally fine. And like, honestly, just being in there for like a month and a half, I already started to see them like picking it up. My pre-K started writing more and started picking up on sounds. And obviously before you write, you need to, like, at least the way I do it, you need to learn the sounds. You need to know, like, you can't just start writing.
You got it's like everything, it's little steps in, literally baby steps into how to do it, and then this way, and then that way, and then boom.
Yeah,
you know
totally. And they like started picking it up and just like really getting it. And it's like I said before, like they just were so hungry to like really do things and really want. And like these parents, bless their hearts, they're all like super appreciative, and they're all just like so happy to see their kids again. And like they thank me all the time, which I think is special and I appreciate. But I'm honestly just like, they just needed to be in a classroom. Like it's not me. It's just they just
right. You don't realize how you don't realize how important it is to. I know there's always the homeschool. I mean, I was homeschooled for I think a year or two, and that is a way to do it. But at the same time, you still. Those kids still are able to go out and make friends and do things and have that come into their lives. But now it was kind of like robbed from them. And wow.
I also had a parent who her child started to be super afraid to go outside in general.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Like, she was like, I didn't like the mom's a doctor, and she's like, I didn't mean to make them feel afraid to go outside, but now she's just like legitimately afraid to go outside because of the virus. And like it's been a period of time, and like she's getting more comfortable going outside, and she's, especially as it's getting nicer, like she wants to go, but it's like like they don't understand, like they don't grasp it, like
right.
Well,
and like that's the other thing I dive into is sometimes is like the media. It's just I don't know what your opinion is, but my opinion is that I do feel that the media forces a little too much fear upon the masses. And
Yeah.
while we have to be realistic of what is going on in the world, not just our country, but in the world with this pandemic, yes, it's true. But I do feel it. There are points to where it is exaggerated so much that, I mean, like, how old was she? That little girl that doesn't
Just
want to,
10.
10 years old. It's like, at 10 years old, you should be riding your bike around the neighborhood, falling off, getting scratches with your friends, and, experiencing life. You shouldn't be literally scared to go outside where you don't want to play or interact with people at 10
And I
years
feel
old.
like
It's not
outside
right.
in the fresh air is as healthy as.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not an epidologist, so like I don't know, but I feel like
Yeah, exactly.
outside fresh air, like that's good,
Well,
right?
so yeah, to switch gears here, that's like a thing with COVID is that, it's, and the CDC has been so back and forth on, and WHO, masks good, masks bad. Do we need 2 masks now? Oh, well, now masks don't affect anything. It's like, okay, can you make up your mind? Like, and even the vaccine, it's like, okay, well, you've been vaccinated, so you can't get it, you can't transmit it. But if you get the vaccine, you still can't go do this, you still can't go do that. So it's so unclear what the organization leaders are projecting to us. So I don't blame that 10-year-old little girl for kind of seeing, you probably can't blame her for seeing all these different sides, and then what her parents are, teaching her and letting her know too. What is she supposed to believe? Because
Right.
an adolescent mind is an innocent mind, and a child's mind is an innocent mind, so they're going to believe a lot of what you tell them. And if they have been instilled with that fear so much that they don't want to go outside, it's like, that's a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Totally.
It is.
So awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that side of it. It's been crazy. I think that, I admire what the teachers are going through. I know it's been pretty hard for you guys, especially, gosh, with, having to make all those videos and the curriculum and just going from a classroom setting to your house or wherever, and then projecting that over a screen to somebody. That's insane. But props to you for getting through that.
Shout out to my teacher friends.
There you go. Got to have that support. How about personal life? How did it affect you? I mean, didn't you get married? Is that correct?
I got married the summer before. Whew, thank goodness.
Oh, okay. Well, right before. Nice. That's
I think
awesome.
I would have been oh my God.
Yeah, that would have been, well, I got married during it.
You got married.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, so, how did that go though? Like being newlyweds? I mean, well, like you said, you guys went from barely seeing each other to kind of probably a lot more time together. Was that a good thing, do you think, or a bad thing, or mix?
It's a bit, yeah, it was a bit different. So like I stopped working as much. I was working a lot, but at home and not as many hours as I was before. At some point, Devin stopped working his 12-hour shifts and got a tutoring job. So he wasn't working as many hours, and his classes obviously went online.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when he's like, in a 6-hour class and he's super overwhelmed, and because he's in grad school and like grad school's hard.
Oh, I can. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But like when he's feeling that way, I'm like, hey, like at least you're home. Like you don't have a long commute. Like you're not. So that's like, like I said, I try to find the positives and manifest that. And like as busy as we are now, like my husband's home, he's taking his classes at home. So like he'll be in the office space, and I can walk by and be like, hey.
Yeah, like you're right there, and that is good. I know my
like it's obviously not super ideal. Like there's times at nighttime, like we're crossing paths, and I'm like, hey, I miss you. I mean, can it like it's nice to have a conversation with you for a minute. But it would be worse if he wasn't home. Like he could very well be on campus and gone for hours and hours. And like right now, he's just gone for hours and hours in the office.
Yeah, but he's literally like a walk away to go say hi and physically be with your spouse.
Yeah, like
so
literally like pathetic girl move. But one time he was like, every like 2 weeks or so they have a mandatory Saturday class.
Okay.
And it's like 5-6 hours long. and we had such a busy week, and I just missed him. And I know I'm talking to you about missing my spouse.
Oh no, you're
Sorry.
you're fine.
I just like missed him, and I literally was sitting on the floor, just like putting my head on his knee and just kind of hanging out. And he was like, "Is this really
Yeah.
happening right now?" And
You're like, hey, we're married, but
right?
no,
I was
no,
like,
that's important. I know, like, I know everybody has their own opinions and views on marriage. Every marriage is different, but at the same time, I believe that too. I believe that physically being with them is the most important thing. You know, we all need our own space, we all need our own time, and we all need breaks. But especially during this kind of a time where even though you guys are at home together and it's been really nice, you still have those huge gaps probably in your day where you're so involved in your screen that
Yeah.
you are still feel a world away. And so it is important to take those times to go lay on their knee and let them know, like, I'm here, you know, I just want some attention, whether you're talking or not. That's big.
yeah. So like,
Yeah.
so it's bittersweet. Like I'm a very, I love to do things. Devin and
Mhm.
like we were literally about to get in March, season tickets to the Keller because we go so often.
Oh yeah.
Like we literally go to every show, and we were like, we just need to get season tickets because this is ridiculous.
Right.
And like we go to Blazer games we did go to Blazer games all the time, and like
Yeah.
we
Same.
danced. Like I'm very big on spending money on experiences,
Mhm.
and so like not having that for so long has been tough. And like
Yeah.
my husband is a bit of both. Like he's very comfortable to be home and very like
Yeah.
bless his heart, he always let me drag him out to places, and he did everything
Yeah.
with me. And I told him, I was like, when this is all over, we are never having a free night again.
Right,
I was
exactly.
like, get ready for it.
You got to make up for lost time for sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so like that's been, harder, especially as time has gone on. Like my birthday is in the summer, and every year like I take a trip. I always do something, and that didn't happen last year. I don't know
Right.
if it's going to happen this year. And it's just like
Yeah.
that part like kind of sucks. There's a lot of friends I haven't seen because everybody's at different comfort levels, and you have to be
Totally.
respectful of that.
Totally.
But also on the positive side, it's like my husband also started grad school this last year, and like he would have been on campus almost every single day, and like
Yeah.
spending hours and hours away from home. And same with me. Like I was
Yep.
wrapping up my prereqs, and like I was putting in 80 hours a week just with working, not with school. And
Wow.
he was working in school, and so it was like we made it work. It was fine.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
both, working hard to eventually not have to work so hard.
Yeah. Living the American
So,
dream,
like,
right?
Yeah, so it was like positive to have that. Like, when we're busy, we're at least kind of busy at home.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, like
Right.
I'm teaching on site right now, but like I'm definitely not putting in 80 hours like I was before. So
Which I think is good though, because especially coming off of that, being at home for so long and changing up how your mind's been, it's kind of a nice ease back into it. And then
Yeah.
especially kind of how with the rest of the nation's going to, with like, okay, now we're at what, 20%, now we're at 30, or like now we're at like 50 something or whatever, with opening back up or whatever, however you want to say it. But yeah, no, that's crazy. But I mean, I'm glad that you guys are, powering through it. It's always good. I mean, like you said, silver linings. That's the most important
Yeah.
thing right now, and motivation to be good people. And you know what I mean. It's difficult no matter what, but it's at the end of the day, you're gonna try and you're gonna have a good attitude and you're gonna keep going. You're gonna enjoy your life together, and yeah, no matter what.
I
That's
think
good.
I don't know. I feel like that's always just been a part, like a
Mhm.
thing of me. I don't like to, obviously so I'm very big on like, oh, somebody always has it worse, so I shouldn't complain, which I think is like good, but also can be bad, because then
Yeah.
just because somebody has it worse doesn't mean that you as a person shouldn't like feel
Mhm.
sad or shouldn't be
Right.
upset about, I was
Mhm.
actually listening to a psychologist talk,
Mm.
and he was talking about all this time that was lost, and he was like,
Mm.
it's okay to grieve time
Yeah, totally.
and like plans that were lost. Like that's
Mhm.
a totally valid like feeling. And
Yeah.
I think like hearing that, and then also knowing that like just because that things are worse for other people doesn't mean that you shouldn't validate like how you're feeling.
Correct.
Which like I feel like as an educator, like I'm very big on feelings, and like even in my relationship with my husband, like if he has the feeling and I don't agree with it, I'm like, that's valid. That's how you feel. You're allowed to feel that, and vice versa. Um,
Totally.
but yeah, so it's like, but I also don't like to linger in that so long. I like to try to.
That's what I think is key there, and that's, I mean,
Yeah.
even my wife being a lot younger than me has shown me is, well, like you said, it's okay to like reflect, to grieve and remember, but it's not healthy to dwell.
Yeah.
Stay there. And that's one thing that she's helped me with so much is like my past, and like, yeah, it comes up a lot, but she's always said the best thing to me that's helped me like during my down times. She's like, just remember to come to the future with me.
Oh, that's
And I'm
beautiful.
like, yeah, it's so beautiful. Like, and ironically enough, it was while she was in a quarantine since she's been gone at basic training. And so, it's coming up on 5 months here that I haven't even seen her.
Wow, Brian.
And it's, yeah, thanks. I mean, it's tough. I was just talking to my buddies about it, that I feel like like with anything like this, it's really hard at the beginning. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've never cried so hard in my life, and neither has she. And I remember the night I dropped her off at the airport, knowing that she's gonna be gone in the military, for a while, and I wasn't gonna see her for a while, and we both just, without even saying words to each other, we just broke down, crying like hardest that we ever have.
Yeah.
And literally, that's the last time I've seen her. And then it was really hard for like a month and a half. And then the last like 3 months have been okay. And I'm like, okay, you're getting used. And it's so, gosh, I almost try not to get emotional right now, but it sucks thinking that you get used to being away from your spouse.
Yeah.
It sounds weird saying that because it doesn't sound right. You know what I'm saying? But
It makes sense though, in a
it
way.
makes sense though, right? And
Yeah.
it's like
It's like a coping mechanism.
right. It's like when you got used to being not in the classroom anymore and being home because you had no other choice. You had to get used to it. And that's like me with when my wife left. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. It almost doesn't seem real. And they get to that point where it's like, okay, 2 months in, 3 months in now, 3.5 months in. I'm like, okay, nope, just go to work, wake up, and come home, eat, gym. I don't really do much besides work on myself, and take care of things at the house. And then I got to a point where I'm like, obviously I think about her every day. I write her a letter every single day. But then I'm like, this is really weird being somewhat used to not having her here. And now that it's so close, because she's supposed to be home at the end of May, like it's 6 weeks away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're so close now. And like, I got my lantern lit here. She's right about to graduate basic, and then she's got her 4-week AIT, and then she's home. And I'm just like, now it's like I'm super excited, but this last week, every day feels like forever. Like, the closer you get, it's like, oh my gosh, it's taking a lot longer now, it feels like. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, the point is that that I'm really glad that you guys focused on each other and have that motivation, maturity as a husband and wife to just stick together through thick and thin and just get through it. Because I know, like we've been talking about with the kids, with other people, relationships, that's a huge thing too with this pandemic. There is a lot of negative, there's a lot of sad things and outcomes, but we do have to look at the silver linings. I think that's the only way that we all are going to get out of this together, is just keep focusing on being who we are and not focusing on the negative stuff. Even though it happens, you just got to get to the end.
Yeah, totally.
And who knows what that's going to be? You know what I mean? It's crazy to think about. Crazy to think about.
I feel like at that point, I can't.
Yeah.
I feel like
I agree.
So I'm just like, just get through tomorrow.
I know, right?
Right?
Yeah. Yep. I'm there too. I'm just like, I got my calendar in the back here, and it's just, okay, X out another day.
Right.
At this point, I'm kind of just blurring, like, doing this. I'm staying busy, and I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm having fun, and it's been great. But it's also been a really great time to kind of reflect on myself, like being alone a lot. And, it's like, that's kind of, like you said, you were listening to a psychologist. I do that often too. And I listen to a lot of motivational speakers, and that's one thing is like it's like, what do they call it? The fear, your own fear in your mind is your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because when you're alone, that's when you start to think about everything in your life. That's when all the boxes open, bills, relationships, work, life, happiness, hobbies, everything, right? It all starts to come out, and you kind of over assess everything. But it's about learning to kind of control that and realize that, okay, my mother-in-law got me this awesome little, I need to hang it up, but it's like a little porcelain painting, and it says, "This too shall pass." One of the greatest phrases that we've probably all heard in our lives.
You're giving me so much right now.
Totally. And yeah, whether it's, the pandemic and getting back to the classroom fully, or my wife coming home from basic training I haven't seen, even just your work day, like I'm fortunate enough to be able to work outside every day, and I really enjoy that, and I needed that because I switched jobs. I quit my other job where I had to be at home every day, and I went and got a job that I'm out every day working with great people outside. I don't need to wear a mask. It's awesome, and it's great. But even then, everybody has bad days, and it's just about getting home and doing what you need to do and unwinding.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, like, unwinding is a good word, but like you have time for yourself in a different way right now. But I feel like in general, just like finding time for yourself and finding the things that can help you unwind. And I know there's like a big push on self-care, which it's like, that's important. Like your mental state, like just like how your outlook is, like what you're thinking, like that can make your whole day, and it can also ruin your whole day. Like, so I think especially now with everything that's going on, it's important to have, like, if not a routine, like some type of way that, like, that when you get home or when you leave your home office, like you can go do this, and that's going to make you feel better. I mean, whether it's like a sensory type thing, or like lighting some candles, or snuggling with a fuzzy blanket, or listening to your favorite music, or playing music, just like finding those things that can bring you a little bit of peace in a crazy time, and not feeling bad about enjoying it. I know.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like personally, that's something I struggle with. Like one of my demons, I have such a hard time just relaxing and watching a movie. My husband is a very, like, his brother graduated from film school and like edits script, and like,
oh wow, that's cool.
Like that's like a part of like Devin's involved in that as well. Like one of his best friends, it runs a show. So like when I first met him, honestly, we watched a movie and he's like, wow, that had amazing cinematography. I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, what?
Yeah, because he's analyzing that from a perspective of like he sees how it's edited and all that stuff. And
but like like for me, I feel like if I have some downtime, like I need to read a book, I need to listen to a podcast, I need to practice my violin, like I need to do something that's like gonna benefit me. And like something I've been learning is like, it's okay to watch a movie, because
it's okay to do nothing.
Yeah, like just totally because you're not learning something or improving something, like doesn't mean it's bad. Like it's okay to just like chill and do nothing.
Oh, totally. That's, my wife is kind of like you in the sense where she's always like, there were days where, I mean, even weekends where she's just like, we have to go. We got to go do something. We got to go to the mall. We got to go, for a walk. I mean, there were plenty of times where we just drove to the coast, just to go do something and come back. But I feel like we do have a good mix of that, where there's plenty of nights where she just, sits right behind me here and plays Call of Duty with me, and it's fun. You know what I mean?
I've definitely gotten better at it. My husband's
really nice. There you go. I think everybody's gotten better at Call of Duty during this pandemic. So
sometimes it's funny. He'll be like, like Thursday or Friday, he'll be like, hey babe, can we just not do any house projects this weekend?
He's like, hint, I don't want to do anything.
Saturday morning, like, babe, we need to do this, let's do this.
Yeah.
And bless his heart, he's always like, yeah, let's do it. But sometimes he's like, can we just not have any projects?
Can we just chill this weekend and not do much? Yeah. No, you're right. That is a huge thing. It needs to happen with all of us, especially over these last 2 years. What's been affecting us the most, it's needed, like you said. Yeah. Huge. Well, great. We're coming up on time here, but is there anything that any specific things you wanted to talk about before we wrap up, or give a shout out to anybody? Maybe your teacher squad there, and let them know for all the support been helping get through it.
I guess now I have to do a teacher shout out.
Yeah, I kind of put you on the spot there.
If I say no, they're gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah, like, oh my gosh.
I love my Brie Murphy, who always does everything for me in the office, even though it's not her job. Because I'm not tech savvy, and she's just like boom, 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 super fast.
Nice.
I love my director, Tia Winiger, who I worked very closely with. She's great. And my classroom bestie, Katria Hershey, for putting up with my craziness in the classroom. And then telling me to calm down when needed. Like one time a child was like, "What happens if we set this on fire?" And I was like, "I don't know, let's figure it out." And she was like, No.
You're like, "Hey, it started great, but we're not going to do that."
Right, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Pretty cool. I like that.
But yeah, that's my... Oh, and then Sarah Volk, she used to be my teacher bestie, but she herself is going to school and she's about to graduate to be a scientist. So go, Sarah.
Wow, good for her. That's
for
awesome.
Christmas, I bought her, what's it called? A lab coat. And I was like,
"Oh,
you
cool.
gotta wear that on all your calls."
Right. Gotta look the part, right?
Yes. But yeah, that's my teacher shout out.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Angela. We're going to come up on time here. And thanks again for being on the show. Getting a teacher's perspective has been really cool to kind of because I haven't really had a chance to dive this deep into, firsthand. Because a lot of people, from my side of things, we either see it on the news, which is, I don't think that reliable, or you kind of just hear about it secondhand. So for you to share your experience over the last couple of years through this huge change that we've all been through, thank you for doing that, and props to you. Bless you guys for doing what you're doing, and keep up the good fight. I always like to say that because the children are our future. As kind of cheesy and cliche as that saying is, it's very, very true though, because we analyze ourselves, how we got to where we are in our lives, and you need, like you said, you're building a house, you have the fundamentals, they need to be there. And it seems like they kind of started to go away a little bit because of everything that happened, but boom, you guys are still there, doing your job, doing what you needed to do. So thank you so much. Thank you to all the teachers out there. If you see a teacher, thank them. They definitely deserve it.
They do.
So yeah, well, thanks for being on the show. Hang out after we end here, and I'll catch up with you. But hey, everybody, thank you. Let's give a big thanks to Angela, all the teachers. We're going to wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. Let's look forward to some good sunny weather. And I will catch you guys in the next episode of Freedom for Me. Thank you for coming by. See you later.
Thanks, Brian.